Yes, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Friday rolls around all too soon. And of course, you know what that means, folks. It's time for that Friday feeling on the bus. And it's a very special episode of the bus tonight because it is 3 years since the Boise bus set off on the road. And here it is, still motoring along. But yes, on the 6th of December 2021, the Boise bus set off on YouTube. First live show. And yeah, here I am. I was a viewer that night. Here I am 3 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny old world, isn't it? But yes, Friday night, traditionally night, the Phil's on. And of course, I've got to be joined by the wise man of the bus of Canada's favourite Tim. It has to be Liam Greenlaw. How you doing, Liam?
I'm doing great, mate. The city's abuzz. There's an absolute electricity about this city for just maybe the last 2 days, but you can see it picking up today. You know why? Taylor. Not Greg Taylor. Taylor Swift is here.
Oh, well, don't let you
So,
keep predicting it. You keep trying to manifest it that Greg Taylor will appear in your city.
mate, I did see the welcome Taylor and all that, and I saw people walking about, wee lasses and all that. I go, okay, that's the demographic. Maybe he's coming. Maybe they made the deal. I've just not seen the news headlines yet that Greg Taylor signed for the Whitecaps, but no, it's Taylor Swift. So,
Well,
and
give it about another
better.
6 months and we'll see if Gregory does turn up. But of course, it is Friday night, it's tradition. I'm sure at some point Mr. Taylor's name will be uttered. We will be speaking about that because
It's a worldie.
yeah, we will talk about obviously the game through midweek because he did play a significant role. Let's be honest here. But yeah, there's plenty to talk about tonight. I've got actually quite a lot on my notes tonight, so yeah, we'll be looking forward obviously to the Hibs game. A few different news stories as well. Yeah, Celtic have had a wee slap on the wrists as well for the Beaks, for pyrotechnics, and of course the UEFA Beaks, even higher up than the SPFL Beaks. They gave us a wee slap on the wrists as well this week. Oh, slaps all over the place. Liam, what's going on? But yeah, we'll talk a wee bit about that as well. Obviously, manager of the month for Brendan Rodgers. No real surprise on that one. So we'll touch on that as well. And of course, I will be asking the question, something that we haven't really talked about yet, Liam. Have you bought your piece of paradise yet? We'll be talking about that as well. That's all still to come. So yeah, busy show. But yeah, first and foremost, of course, folks, before we go any further, you can do all that good stuff. You can hit that like button and help the bus out that little bit more on old algorithm CSC on YouTube. Try and get us recommended for more people who like Celtic podcasts and other such types of shows. Then the bus might pop up in the recommended inbox. Hit the subscribe button if you've not done so yet. We're still at the target of 5,000. We'll see if we can get there before the end of the year. But of course, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. Keep us in your life just that wee bit longer. Of course, get involved in our comment section tonight. So let's do a roll call and let's see who's in tonight on this 3rd year anniversary of the bus. We've got Smell the Glove, Thomas Burns, Jim C, Chris M, Ian McIntosh, Graham Tyrrell. He's already sounded the Greg Taylor klaxon. He's already done it. Joe Henry's here. Gary Brown, Jim C. Yeah, it's again. Oh, David Logue's even in the chat. Fellow member of the bus. Oh, and Russell's also lurking about as well in the chat. So hello one and all. Welcome aboard. Take your seat. And of course, you can head over to piesports.com and you can still use that code BUS1888 and get yourself some tasty pastry treats, macaroni pies, and numerous other types of pies. They're rather good. So yeah, head over there and do that. So yeah, folks, that's all the good stuff done. Now, Friday night on the bus, obviously, once upon a time, we were doing Bustalgia on a Friday night, and of course, the opening of every Bustalgia would start with a little bit of trivia. I would throw a wee bit of trivia out there, Liam, just for you and the viewers, and then at the end of the show, I'd come back to the answer. So, you may have all noticed there's a bit of a trend going on nowadays. We capitalised on this on Tuesday, on the Tuesday ticket, and there's another trend that's doing the rounds. A lot of football content shows, like radio and whatnot, are doing this. So it's a guess the player, but you've got to guess him by his club history. So I've prepared a graphic to bring up on screen. So I think it's quite an easy one. It's quite an easy one to start for the first week. But I'll show it now, and I'll be a wee teaser, and we'll come back to the answer at the end. So Liam, if you know the answer, don't shout it out just yet. But this is the mystery player tonight. It is this. So his history started at Newcastle So we'll go from left, obviously, along and then down into the bottom row. So started at Newcastle, then he went to Doncaster Rovers. He had a spell at the team we're playing tomorrow, Hibernian, and then he went to Coventry City before going to Derby County, and then had another spell at Hibs, and then ended up with Celtic, and then went to Wigan Athletic. As you can see, the player is very discreetly hidden by the Boise Bus logo. So yeah, come back to the answer at the end of the show. But that's tonight's mystery player going by their club history. I think it's quite an easy one, but I didn't want to start you with too difficult a one with some wild, obscure Eastern European teams and stuff like that. I thought I would ease into this quiz. So yeah, we'll reveal the answer at the end of the show. There you go. Okay, so with all that said, let's get into it. So, Liam, lots to talk about. So let's get started on the press conference today from Brendan. And as I said at the top of the show there, a wee few slaps on the wrists. Pyrotechnics seem to be a no-no. Again, they seem to be in the news. For anyone that didn't see it, the offence that has copped Celtic a fine, and Rangers have also been pulled up for it as well for their partaking in it, and also Motherwell. 3 teams have actually been hauled before the Beaks. This is the Celtic one in question. It's the Aberdeen semi-final a few weeks ago, 6-0 at Hampden. And first and foremost, I've just got to say, it looks fucking cool, regardless of what you may think about it. And I was there in the stadium that day. That looked fucking awesome. I'm not going to lie. It really did, with the CFC spelt out with the flares. Thought it was a fantastic effort from all involved. But this is my take on it. Obviously, Brendan spoke today when he was put on the spot about it. And the press were going to ask him about it. So he sort of toed the party line, essentially, and just talked about safety being paramount. And he did bring up a fact about that one in particular did delay the game by quite a bit. It was about a 15-minute delay, if I remember right, at Hampden. And obviously the players are warmed up and they're ready to go, but then you get an extra delay and they've got to sort of do a sort of impromptu warm-up to keep going, keep the muscles active. It could be something that can lead to an injury on the park, which of course we don't want players getting injured, especially going into a very busy Christmas period. But my problem with this, whenever this rears its head, because this isn't the first time this has came up, right? This isn't the first time. Mm-hmm. Usually, Celtic will come out and say stuff about, this is unacceptable, and sort of pointing a finger at the Green Brigade. Let's be honest, right? I find it a bit weird that the stewarding, their job is to make sure that these things don't get into the stadium, but they always find a way in. And it's like, I find it weird that the club and the Beaks and that always come out and criticise them. It's like, shouldn't you be looking more at the people who are meant to be stopping it from happening? I always feel like there's a big flaw in the system there, Liam, as to like, it's all well and good saying that, but I think the bigger problem here is clearly whatever you're putting in place to stop these things. And I've been, obviously I don't sit near the Green Brigade at the stadium, but I believe that they do get quite a heavy-handed approach going into the stadium at Celtic Park from stewards and police. And when I go to Hampden, like the entrance at the Green Brigade will always go in, because usually I always see them marching down Aikenhead Road, and they've got like sniffer dogs and stuff like that on the gate that they go in. They're apparently checked a lot more further than like me going in a different gate. But see, these things always keep happening, and then the club get hauled before the Beaks to answer questions and pay a fine or whatever. But it's like, shouldn't those in charge be looking more at the people who are supposed to be stopping it in the first place, Liam?
Aye, I mean, I think that's definitely one of the things you could look at. I mean, the last thing we want to see is our stewards being even more heavy-handed with the fans and support and body searches and all that, looking for flares. I think the flare thing needs to wrap itself up. And it's not because of the spectacle and all that as well. It's just like burning rubbish or burning tyres. You don't know what chemicals that you're burning after the cheap flares that you're getting imported from all over the world so that you can, have them cheaply. And the respiratory infections or illnesses that either instigates or it could cause all sorts of health problems in people that have existing problems. That's where I think the rub lies. And I don't think there's a place for it. If there is, I can organise it so it's like on the running track or something like that, and it's done with one of the fan capos or something. That's what you see them doing in North America stuff, and so it's somewhat controlled. You still get the spectacle, but all the wee hard men are going to go, nah, that's telling us what to do, and it's like, I don't know. It's a stupid thing to keep getting fined there. I like to look at I like it as a spectacle, but it's other ways to do it, and also I don't think it's safe for people breathing in that smoke. I don't think you should do that. Ban smoking in restaurants, and then you're standing next to a flare going off. I mean, lasts for ages.
Yeah, that game in particular, it was there was no breeze at all. That's why I've been at Hampden plenty of times, just the way the stadium's built, the way it sort of sweeps around it, and there was just no breeze that day, even though it was obviously we're going into the winter at that point. But yeah, it just sat, and you saw it on the TV. The delay, honestly, in the stadium was about 14 or 15 minutes. It was ridiculous how long it was going, because the thing was, where I was stood in the stadium, I felt like I can see what's going on. We could see enough of the park, but apparently the issue was VAR. Ironically, VAR couldn't see. I was like, oh, really? VAR can't see. Imagine that. But yeah, that apparently was the bigger issue that held that game up. But yeah, as I say, it's I just feel that the bigger issue is more, okay, if they're banned, then shouldn't the SFA and whatnot be maybe a bit stricter on those who are meant to stop it getting into the stadium in the first place? But it always seems to find a way in, and yeah, it's just it just seems right. So it'll no doubt happen again, and it'll rear its head again. But I say, from my own personal point, I don't mind it too much. I do like what it brings. I thought that last display looked excellent, especially I think the Green Brigade's actual Twitter account, the North Curve Celtic account, they had a drone over the stadium, drone footage of it. And it looked fantastic, though, when it was all lit up. It was awesome. But yeah, I say I can understand the concerns, though. And yeah, they do smell pretty bad, to be fair. They do reek quite a bit. When you get it caught in the back of your throat, it's like, oh, God almighty. So yeah, again, it's one of these things that's going to rumble on. But yeah, Brendan was obviously put on the spot about it. He just told the party line and just, talked about safety being paramount and whatnot. But another thing he did mention, I did like as well, that he took a little dig at some other clubs with away allocations and whatnot, saying we must be the richest league in the world with the amount of empty seats that I see at these stadiums. But yeah, I did enjoy that. That was just Brendan, just being Brendan, just getting a wee dig in there. But the bigger headline there is he's manager of the month. No surprise, really. It's been a hell of a time to be a Celtic fan right now, Liam, on a roll.
I mean, everything's doing well. Supposedly Frimpong might be going back to Manchester City. They're going to get about, I don't know, between 7 and 12 million out of that as well. So, in a time where we seem to be okay right now. I think we're in a good spot. We don't seem to have any injury problems. The team seems to be firing on all cylinders as far as moving it. We've got a couple of rough edges that we're pasting out, but it's great that we're going to get a chance to remedy that in a month's time. So we're going to get a really good chance to look and see who's Brendan's keeping right now, and also I've got a really good bunch of games coming up as well, and that's what I'm wanting to see. Okay, now come on, Brendan, start Bernardo again, give him a run in the team. I'm like he's bringing. So it's exciting right now just to see what's going on, because you can see it. You can see it. It's ready to evolve, right? It could either be really, really good, or we're going to have to rebuild a bit more. But I think we're just one or two players away from having a really dynamite team,
Oh yeah, definitely. It's just obviously the January window's just around the corner. We'll see if Celtic add, sprinkle that wee bit of magic dust on the team. That there's still a few wee things that we need, but as we've the chairman has said in the past that January is a notoriously difficult window for us to shop in. So I'm not holding my breath on that one. But it's we're still in a very good position financially. It's better than certain other clubs after what they reported this week. Put it that way. But obviously, I say Brendan, he won Manager of the Month, and a colossal game through the week, Liam, and proved again why we are champions and why we do what we do. And to be fair, there's been a bit of a running theme recently with some of the away games. I think the first half we've always been a wee bit not terrible, but definitely sort of under the caution. The other team, the opposition, Killie away, Hearts away, Aberdeen the other night. they get all the plaudits, but we've said before it's all about points, not plaudits. And those teams, people are giving them a pat on the back for making it difficult for us and getting stuck into us. But at the end of the day, we seem to just turn it on in the second half, and that game through the week. And let's be honest, absolutely horrific conditions, absolutely abysmal. At one point, I heard Ian Crocker on the commentary say that the winds were up at 60 miles per hour. And obviously up at Pittodrie, it's a very open stadium. Of course, it's up next to the coast, the beach end. Of course, at Aberdeen, that end behind the goal with the two tiers, they call it the beach end. And I'd imagine it was a horrendous game. And I said to my dad who was watched it, I kept saying, this game just reeks of one goal and that's it. And I just felt like the way we were going, because we were sort of motoring along. Second half, we began to make a few more wee chances, especially when Adam Eder came on. We had a bit of a focal point up front, and you just felt like the screw was turning. Aberdeen, for all the frustrating things they did, let's be real, they didn't really test us at all. And it was just one of the things, once the chance fell away, we took it perfectly. And can we all take a moment, everybody in the chat, to just say, what a pass from Gregory Taylor. What an absolutely brilliant pass, lobbing it over, and Rio Hitati gets in there, finishes it brilliantly. And Aberdeen, they were out of ideas after that once we got ourselves in front. But it was a proper champions performance. I felt one of those ones where you look back at the end of the season and go, they're the types of games that win you the title, Liam.
Mate, I think the video will be called Taylor Made when it comes out, and I'll probably have to introduce it for the first 10 minutes because Greg to take you through the assist again. You know what? I fucking fair dues to him. He came on. It was a great ball. I thought he was still. There was still a couple of times he got dragged about, and that ducks at one point backed him right back into the 18-yard line, nearly screwed him into the ground. But other than that, he was great, man. I've grown to like him now. I'm getting it's Taylor Swift weekend here, so there's a wee thing at the village I've stopped up where you can make friendship bracelets. So I'm going to see if I don't look too weird standing in the line with all the schoolies to get a Greg Taylor friendship bracelet made, just in case he does show up here now. Greg?
There you go. As I said, 3 years and Liam's turned a page. He's turned a new page. There you go. He's now on the Greg Taylor bus.
On the bus.
There you go. Ironically, he may only be here for another 6 months as well, and then you finally have warmed up to him. But it was a great pass, and it was a tidy finish by Hitati, who's also another one that's, let's be honest, gets a lot of criticism. There might be certain people on this channel that might criticise him quite a lot as well. But hey, everyone's got an opinion. It's their gift to criticise him if they feel that way. That's perfectly fine. At the end of the day, it's all subjective. We are not journalists. We do not have agendas or anything. We just call it how we see it through our eyes. But Hitati, I will say this, regardless of, and obviously, Mark has been very, very critical of Hitati. He is very inconsistent. There's no denying that. He is so capable. We know what Hitati can do on, when he is on it. But he came up trumps. It was a great finish, and that was it really. But the one thing that just baffled me though at times was people just didn't seem to be taking into consideration how bad the conditions were. There was obviously quite a heart in the mouth moment near the end of the game when obviously Austin Trusty, gets zipped across the goal and he tried to control it and obviously slipped, lost his foot, and then Carter Vickers, But Chris Sutton on commentary is like, that was terrible from Trusty. And I'm like, am I the only one that's paying attention to the fact there's like 60 mile per hour gusts and heavy pissing sideways rain going on? And it's like, at the end of the day, these are not ideal conditions for anybody to be playing in. And just one of the things, just lost his foot, and it just happens in daytime things. Other than that, I think Trusty's been rock solid since he's came in, and I think he's getting better with every game. But there was obviously nearly a very small blip at the end there. But Carter Vickers, what a recovery tackle though to save him.
Aye, I mean, big man was in his glory. He was in his element. Looked like the old, I mean, in that elements as well too. Didn't even look like it phased him. He's always got the same expression. He's no wincing or looking about like, oh, fuck, hurry up and get this over. No, calm, cool, collected, big calm. So, I mean, that game started turning very agricultural, right? And not just in the park, but some of the players. I said this before, but this Aberdeen team, this is a team that's really, really easy to dislike. At Nielsen, he's been getting away with livers. And if you're going to have an agricultural game on an agricultural park, you couldn't pick a better referee than that clown Robertson. I mean, him running about that stupid mohawk or whatever he's trying to grow, just an odd-looking man with an odd-looking style of refereeing. Letting that, just let some players get away with murder. I remember that Brown that plays with, I think it's Ross County. He always gets a few kicks in it as when he's refereeing, and you can just see it as well. It's like he'll let these hammer throwers get away with murder, and then Maeda stands his ground in the penalty box. Goalie, throws himself to the ground and all that. And some of the diving about as well for their players too. It was a horrible game to watch for everything, but it was a great goal to win it by an even better assist from my new pal, Greg Taylor.
By the number 6, I'm glad you highlighted him for Aberdeen, Nelson. The game at Celtic Park, Aberdeen were very aggressive that day, and fair play to them. I said they got a point. They obviously upset us enough to get a point that day. But I noticed him in particular that day getting away with a lot, very heavy-handed in the challenge. I don't think he started the game at Hampden, but I remember him coming on, and again, it's sort of in my best in my head, this guy's a bit of a prick. And then when he was playing the other night, again, I'm just like, this guy ain't a footballer at all. He's just a total thug. He's just an absolute hatchet, man. No ability at all, just runs about kicking people. And I know people can argue that sometimes you need a player like that in your team. Maybe you do, but yeah, to me, I'm just like, this guy is just he's just a bruiser.
Phil, you might need a player like that in your team. So at the very end of the game, did you watch Rodgers when he was up having a word with him? And it was like, he had a very long conversation with him at the end of the game. Last time I seen Rodgers having a conversation with a player like that, it was Johnny Hayes.
Aye.
They had a very similar looking conversation, and I don't know what that was about, but I don't know. I wonder what this boy's pedigree's like and what you might see something in it, or it was like, you calm down, mate.
Aye. Did he not have a similar thing with Lennon Miller? Am I imagining that after one of the games in Motherwell in the last 12 months or so, he was walking off the park, and I think it was a game where we beat them last season. We beat them 3-1 at Fir Park quite late on. I have this vision in my head of saying stuff to Lennon Miller after the game, but probably based on the fact that Miller was pretty good that day, from what I remember. He played pretty well, so it just might just be a sort of, keep doing what you're doing, son. You're on the right track. But yeah, that, as I say, that number 6 for Aberdeen was fun. But I also bringing up that goal as well. A few people in the chat are saying, if it had happened, like Graham Martins came in and said, imagine that happened to Casper, would the goal be disallowed? To be fair, I think it would be disallowed. I know we point our fingers at the referees and VAR, but I think, see the way goalkeepers are so protected nowadays, is it a bit naive from Maeda to sort of back in and stand there, because the goalkeeper's always going to, make the most of it? Because I think with the delivery that Bernardo put on that, I don't think he need to put much pressure on the goalie. I think that could have easily found the net, regardless of Maeda standing there or not, because it was put in with such ferocity, probably aided by the swirling wind as well. But it was perfectly put in. But yeah, obviously disallowed would have been a hell of a fucking goal if it had been allowed in the end. But yeah, we found it. We found the winner in the end, and it puts us 7 points clear. We're a game in hand, and there you go. Everybody, was hyping up Aberdeen, Liam, for months on end there with the title fight, and it was like, again, I say the 2 times I've watched them play, I'm just like, they're all right. They're not anything different really from most other SPFL teams. They've been able to get the victories that they usually would drop points in. Fair play to them, but they're starting to now. Was that 4 games now without a victory? They're starting to fall a bit behind. Realistically, Rangers will probably overtake them pretty soon. But hey, as long as we're sitting at the top, we've got a nice arm's length distance to everybody. I'm more than happy. I know there was a few people have obviously said, not just on this channel, but just across the sort of Celtic online, community, a wee title race would be good. It'd be exciting. I'm not one of the fans. I love it when we just run away with it. I'm more than happy to just watch us romp to the title. So hopefully this is the beginning of us really starting to pull away, because it does set us up very nicely, Liam, for what is going to be a massive week. Also, we'll talk about the Hibs game before the end of the show, which just comes tomorrow. But in general, what a week we've got coming up. we could, and I say could, obviously take a massive, massive step towards knockout football in the Champions League, because again, everybody talks about that hallowed 10 points seems to be the general consensus that that will get you through. We're sitting on 8 points just now. I'll make it clear now. A draw in Zagreb wouldn't be a terrible result given who we've still got to play at Celtic Park. But if Celtic go out to Zagreb this coming Tuesday and get a result, a victory, then 11 points with 2 games to go. It's not a bad place to be. And then, of course, we have a small matter of a cup final coming up as well, Liam. So, yeah, a blockbuster week ahead to come.
Hey, it's no easy going into Eastern Europe and just thinking you're going to get a couple of points in a place like Zagreb, by the way. So, I mean, I'm excited. I think what I'm excited about right now is it's like, you're thinking, okay, so who are you going to play and all that. Now I think we've got options. And, and it'll be interesting. I don't know a lot about this team, what sort of style they play, who they've got playing for them and all that, right? But I know that the options we got, right now I'm thinking, all right, we're starting to get more creative in the midfield, and I think that's what's going to help win us European games. I really think Bernardo in there is going to be a point of difference for us. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Excited about the games coming up because, and again, especially when you're miles ahead, because you just enjoy it. And if it's good football that you're playing, when it's building up and you're seeing the development and the style is getting better and players are getting better, yeah, it's an exciting time. And then also as well, I'm excited to see 1 or 2 players come in this next window. And I don't think they can disappoint us again. Come on, we need some box office here. We've waited a long time, and I think we have a good idea who one of those names might be, right? Kieran Tierney.
There's another left back klaxon we should be sounding. Kieran Tierney comes up quite a lot. But I say we might have European football guaranteed knockout stage. I know we play 2 games at the tail end of January, but any players that come in January cannot play.
Would he play
in those 2 games? They would be able to play. They have to be. It's your squad that's registered from September when the transfer window closed, but they would be able to play in the knockout stages. So if we've got knockout football guaranteed, we want to keep this going as best we can. So there's obviously a few positions that I think we need to look at and bring in just to try and prolong this, because there's no fallbacks anymore into the Europa League. It's just Champions League or bust. So I try and keep it as long as possible, and try and take a couple of scalps and get Celtic Park being back to what it used to be back in the 2000s, a proper scary place for teams to come to, a bit of a fortress. It's our best weapon really on European nights is Celtic Park. So yeah, we want this adventure to keep going. So hopefully in January they do take that into consideration. If we have qualified, or if we're in a very, very strong position after Zagreb to qualify, and hopefully do. But a player that might be getting a chance in January, it seems to have been alluded that Johnny Kenny, not to be confused with John Joe Kenny. I know there's very similarities. Oh God, definitely not him. Yeah, Irish striker who has been on loan at Shamrock Rovers for I think over a year now, has apparently there's a chance that he will be brought back from his loan in January, it seems, and will be given a bit of a chance in the first team or in and around the first team, because I do still feel we need a third striker option. It's quite a tough gig to fill when you only play one striker most games. So you want somebody that's going to be quite happy to be in that role, as much as I think we'd all love to go and splash the cash and bring in a real certified goal scorer, Liam. Those guys want to come in and be rotated around with 2 other players, Adam Reader and Kyogo. I think a guy like Johnny Kenny would be quite happy just to bide his time for now if he's getting a wee chance here and there, maybe a occasional cup game off the bench. But let's look at this, because I know a lot of fans initially will turn their nose up because, a B team player or whatever, he's been a project player, but he has been scoring goals in Europe. Granted, maybe the Conference League, but hey, there's only 3 European tournaments that get contested every year: the Champions League, the Europa League, the Conference League. So there's only 3 major European trophies to win. He is playing in one of those tournaments. He has been scoring goals for Shamrock Rovers, who've been doing all right, all things considered, for them.
I think he's been doing great. I spoke to an Irish guy in the bar that had the jacket and the hat and everything on Shamrock Rovers and asked him, I says, what's he like? And he says, as a striker, he's rapid. He's got great instinct. He's quick to the ball, and he seems to have started to develop as a player. I think it's mad if we don't have a look at him and just figure, he's because he's playing in in League of Ireland or that. I mean, it's a lot of good players that have come out of Ireland over the years that have played all over the world. So I mean, let's put that to bed right away. And he's ours. So yeah, bring him back. Let's get him in, see what it's like. And I don't think Adamida and Kyogo should be too comfortable. I think if you look at the merit of a player that comes in, you got to find it. If a guy gets hot, you play them. Honestly, it's not about price tags or anything like that at that point. That's how it could be one of these Jamie Vardy types, that just sort of develop later. Like you do get players that develop later than life, and then I don't know what it is, he's like 21 or something, 22.
He's definitely the early 20s, definitely.
Right. So, I mean, might be one of these players that's just starting to develop or play and get a sense of confidence about himself. So, yeah, I'd love to see him and give us the opportunity, just give us another bit of variety, but also to push the two strikers we already have.
Yeah, well, funny enough, Alistair Jack says look at Scales. That's a fair point because Liam Scales played for Shamrock Rovers, and when he came in, there was a lot of eyebrows raised because I believe our chief shareholder has some shares in Shamrock Rovers as well. A few questions were asked: is this some sort of money laundering going on? What is this? But Liam Scales has developed. It came out of nowhere. Brendan Rodgers, even himself, last season says it's one of the biggest surprises of his managerial career, which at the time I did feel was this is a very un-Brendan Rodgers thing to say, because Brendan being the sort of guy that he is and very much like, again, we've said enough times, he has got a bit of an ego, let's be honest. It's not a bad thing. I would have thought that, when it was put to him that day, I would beat like St Johnstone or something at Celtic Park around about October, November time. And Scales had now been in the first team for quite a while, and he was obviously, that question was put to him. And instead of going, yeah, I've always believed in him, I never doubted it, the typical thing you would expect, he was like, biggest surprise of my managerial career. It was like, okay, that's a ringing endorsement there. But yeah, Liam Scales, he has put in some great performances, and even just coming in last week, getting a goal after being out the team for a wee while. So he's became a very solid squad option for us, no doubt about it. And yeah, Alistair Jack, you're right to highlight that one there. So we shouldn't turn our nose up at Johnny Kenny. So it's a very tough gig to be the third choice striker in a team that only plays one up top. So a player of that caliber isn't going to cost us anything. He's been scoring regularly for his team. Why not?
Phil, I wonder if there's any. Do you think there's a chance an English team might come in for Scales? I mean, he's absolutely suited to their game, right? And if you look at the cluggers that we've had there, and just because they play for the same national team, Shane Duffy or all that, Liam Scales is a much better player than Shane Duffy in that right now. And when you see him on that Ireland team, he stands up against, international teams. He could definitely get a game in the Scotland team, So I don't know. Do you think you might see a team looking to stay up that needs somebody that can defend? Like Scales?
I don't know. It's not outside the possibility. I mean, we know how Southampton love to come and raid us from time to time with bids, but I feel like Scales is just one of these guys who'll be here for a good few years. I don't see him pushing the boat to try and get away from the club. I think he's quite, I think to him, he's landed in an amazing position. The stars just aligned for him last year, and he's always been sort of in. So I think he'll stick around for a wee while. Say if there's an English team going to come looking for him, it will be bottom end Premier League, top end Championship, I think, at best. And it's like he's kind of got a good thing going right now at Celtic. So I can see him sticking around for a bit longer.
We'll see in that one.
Of Graham Tyrrell saying 20 million for Scales. Well, when these English Premier League teams come a knocking, then you need to hold them to ransom, because they can't exactly say, "Oh, we don't have the money." You do. You do. Get the money on the table right now. We know what you've got in the bank. Come on. So yeah, I think he'll be sticking around for a wee bit longer. But yeah, say Johnny Kenny comes in and gets a chance. Liam Scales is showing that there is, opportunity there. And it was also brought up, I had the comment up, a saying, why San Fran Celtic says this, unless our academy players know that we have that we have options, or so, because the academy players are just slipping through the net most of the time, and they go away to other clubs and their contracts run out. It gives them a chance to see that you can get into the first team. There is going to be opportunities there. After all, Darren O'Dea did get appointed as the pathway manager or something like that, whatever it was they appointed him last year. So there you go. That would be a positive, I guess, on his CV right away, that somebody from the sort of B team structure has managed to get in if Johnny Kenny does come in and starts getting a few games here and there. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah, it's funny with that B team, just that nothing seems to come through, or when it is, like that seems like an entire generation that just seem very dissatisfied with their pathway through Celtic and how they've came, where they're just wanting away at this point and not looking to even negotiate. It shows you something behind the scenes needs probably fixed there at that point. And, it might just be a big FU. At that point, I just want to go and try it somewhere else. But then again, somebody was saying in the chat earlier, like Rocco Vata, there's nobody out there lightening it up right now. Luka Moko was for a while with Blackpool, but no heard from him since. So I don't know, is there any of our players out there that are absolutely killing it? That, like, unlike the Frimpongs, the guys we sold for money.
Yeah, the only one that's, I mean, if you want to say killing it, obviously Ben Doak's reputation seems to have gone up. His stock has increased massively. I know he's playing at the moment for Middlesbrough on the regular because he's on loan at the border from Liverpool. But yeah, he seems to have a bright future. But ultimately, a lot of these ones that we were told were going to be the next big thing, and then they go, they leave, the contract runs down. They don't, Karamoko Dembele's probably the outstanding one in the last couple of years, where we were told so much about this boy and what he was going to do, and then he's obviously his Blackpool, was it that you said that he was at? And,
he was in Germany and then he went to Blackpool, I think it was.
Yeah, so it shows that it kind of makes me feel a bit better that we haven't missed out too much. Then Ben Doak, might be the exception to the rule, but I say we're going along quite well just now. Anyway, we're coping all right, but we'll see what the future holds for Johnny Kenny. Now, the big question, Liam, I said at the top of the show as well: have you bought your piece of virtual paradise yet?
Well, actually,
Christmas is coming up, Liam. Christmas is around the corner. Come on.
Man, I think what is their boardroom on? What sort of drugs did they take back then? What did Snoop Dogg do to them when he was out there? There's definitely something going on. I mean, that is up there with the Hawk 2 girl and the Jaguar thing. It's like, hold my coat. How can we mess this up even there? And it's like somebody sat in a meeting, and I don't know what the name of the meeting was. It was like ways to fleece the flans or whatever, 3 o'clock. I was like, right, what you got? What if we cannot sell pieces of the pitch? It's sort of like, it's like something out of Seinfeld, like George Costanza would submit in a meeting. And I mean, who went for this? They're going to buy a piece of virtual park. Honestly, we should be selling virtual pies on this channel if that works. And
we should actually,
all the money will go to Boyce's Wish, right? We'll do a special virtual pie. Fucking virtual pie. Whoever came up with that idea with that.
Virtual insanity from Smell the Glove. Great comment. Graham Tyrrell says, cost of living crisis worldwide, and the club tries to pull this stupidity. I mean, I'm not very briefed on NFTs, right? I know they're a thing, but I don't know much about them and all this crypto and all that. Can somebody in the chat explain me what exactly are they selling? Are they selling coordinates? I mean, what is it? What do you get? Do you get literally nothing? Do you get a wee certificate that says you now own this little piece of Celtic Park, but you don't because there's no physical, tangible thing to... I don't know, man. I don't get it at all. So, yeah, it's just a shambles. I couldn't believe it when I saw the tweet go up, and then, honestly, the comment section on it was an absolute dumpster fire. There was about 793 replies, and every one of them, as you can imagine, was along the lines of, what the fuck are you doing, Celtic? And I am genuinely shocked that the admin team didn't turn off the replies. I don't know if that would maybe come across looking worse or try to hide from it. They're just kind of, what is what we say, they're doubling down, not backing down. But yeah, that was a mad moment. But yeah, as I say, Christmas is coming up, Liam. So if you need a Christmas gift idea, get your virtual piece of paradise, mate.
Mate, all I want for Christmas is I want a virtual lift back.
Morty's going to say
you don't got one.
You rent it for a year, so you don't even own it. You rent it. Like what? What is this?
You know what? So there must be better ways. Come on, as Bus, we're clever, right? I've done my part. Virtual prize, right? What else is Celtic? What else could Celtic do that you never ever expect that they would try to do to raise money? It's like unbelievable, isn't it?
Some of the comments that are coming in. So Bhoys says virtual bricks on the Celtic Remix. David Kelly's came in very two-footed, but he's right. He says they can virtually go fuck themselves. Patrick McGoughan says they're taking the virtual pish. Yes, right. I agree. So yeah. Oh my God. It's like, yeah, it was absolute madness, that one. But I felt like we've no really... It's something for the last couple of weeks we keep saying, we need to talk about that, Liam. We need to talk about that. So finally remember to bring it up. But yeah, it's just an absolute madness. But does anything really surprise you at times with the Celtic board with some of the stuff they do? But yeah, mental moment. So yeah, I can safely say I will not be indulging in purchasing any virtual piece of paradise. Thank you very much, Mr. Celtic admin. I will not be doing that.
There'll be a Bitcoin out tomorrow. There'll be Celtic crypto out tomorrow, like the Hawk 2 girl.
Don't give them ideas. Do not give them ideas, man. Oh God. So let's get on to tomorrow's game then, because Hibs are in town. Hibees currently 11th in the table. They're having a shocker. Them and Hearts are having a shocker this season. Both the Edinburgh clubs are bottom and second bottom. Not that I'm that sympathetic towards them. But yeah, I say Hibs, they can't really get out of the rut. I think the whole situation at Hibs reeks of, you remember a few years ago when Hearts had Ian Cathro as manager, but Craig Levine was the director of football. And as it kind of turned out, Craig Levine was kind of the one pulling all the strings anyway. I look at what's going on at Hibs right now with David Gray as the sort of rookie coach and Malky Mackay as the director of football above him. I would be surprised if David Gray, when he does get the sack, which will probably happen, Hibs sack their managers a lot, that Malky Mackay conveniently appoints himself as the new manager, just like Craig Levine did at Hearts. When Ian Cathro got the sack, suddenly the director of football decided, I'll do the job myself. But anyway, that's their problems. But yeah, they're in town tomorrow. Ultimately, before we touch on different parts of the team and whatnot, it's an ideal fixture that we're looking for at this time. With the momentum we've got going, Liam, this is the type of team that you want to be coming to Celtic Park right now.
Exactly. This is a chance where, again, we get to take the foot off the pedal early, put it away early, and then see what we can do. Gives Brendan the chance to tinker, see what we can put together for this midfield that we think who's going to be best to play young boys. So I think it's a great time for Hibs coming. I've got a mate coming there from Vancouver Island just to watch a game. So meeting him and some of the boys for the Scotland supporters thing tonight for a few pints before I go for that. So I am looking forward to this game this weekend. So I'll meet some Scottish football supporters when I get to rub it in, because it's just us Celtic supporters I know, right? So it'll be good to have a few, honey bears there tonight. So
well, let's talk about some of the positions then that could be up for grabs. I think Bernardo should keep his place first and foremost. I don't see any reason to drop him out of the team. I think he had a solid game on Wednesday night. And again, I can't stress it enough. Very, very difficult conditions, but he seemed really composed in the middle of the park. So I think Bernardo should definitely keep his place for the time being. Engels, I've got to agree with what Mark said about it. Maybe take Engels just out the spotlight for a wee bit, just sort of, step back for a wee bit. I still think Engels will be fine. But just for the time being, we are in a very, very busy period coming up with games. The Christmas period is just ruthless, with the amount of fixtures we've got to play. So I don't see any reason why they'll stick Bernardo in there. He's proven that he's, and I'd say his delivery from set pieces, as we saw on Wednesday night. And I believe, was it him? No, it was McCown that took the corner last week against Ross County that the Scale scored off of. But yeah, for me, I think Bernardo, a calming presence in the middle of the park tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think he's creative as well. So I like that aspect to his game. We think about McCown, and I mean, McGregor's a cert, right? McCown or Hatate, I'm really thinking this is a game that's just built for McCown. give Hatate a wee rest. You know what I mean? He scored an absolute cracker, but I don't think he was at his best. I don't know. He seems to be struggling in that position right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's not doing the things he used to where he was carrying the ball. Like his shooting's got really bad, from distance. Whereas when we first got him and he scored that goal against Hearts, I was thinking, oh fuck, we've got a baller. We got somebody like Nakamura or Sean Maloney that used to let one rip for about 30 yards and catch the keepers every now and again. Yeah, I've not seen him really do that. The shots I have seen him take have been pretty weak, So I think Hatate could take a wee rest. Thanks for the heroics, wee man. Well done. But Hatate and Greg Taylor, I would give him a rest and start with Valley and McCown.
Is that what we're doing? We're giving Greg Taylor a rest? Is that what we're calling it then, Liam? Yes, he's getting a well-deserved rest after his great assist the other night. Yeah.
He's running about a farm somewhere in the Highlands. Is that a farm?
Oh, he's honestly, it's a Friday night tradition on the bus. If Greg Taylor leaves, what are we going to do? Who are we going to point the finger at? What are we going to do, Liam? Honestly, but lot of calls in the chat as well for McCown, actually, where you're talking about it there. There's a lot of people calling for that. And again, after his performance last week against Ross County, he was absolutely exceptional. I think it was like 3 assists and a goal, I think he got in the end. Again, just to come in, after not really getting, some appearances, 1 or 2 starts so far, to come in and put in that performance. And yeah, when he came on as well on Wednesday night, he came in again, just calmed it down in the midfield as well. And he looks lively. He's an exciting player. I find him really exciting to watch, Liam.
I think, I did not know that about his game. I didn't know what we were getting when we got McCown. And I knew he was their captain and stuff. I remember seeing him in the midfielder, but he's much more lively than I thought he would be. And he's done well. He's chipped in with goals. So, what's he got? 2 for us now? 3?
3. 1 against Hearts, 1 against Motherwell, 1 against Ross County. Aye.
Okay, so with that amount of time that he's had on, I think that's brilliant getting that back for him. So, yeah, I think he's earned a start. And I like when we bring in. I think he's a player that's meant to play for Celtic. Sometimes a player comes to Celtic that maybe you missed out, when he was younger, and then he gets that chance to finally play for Celtic and just takes the full chance. I'm trying to think who was the last player that came in and did that. Maybe like Tierney or.
What do you mean, coming in from another club in Scotland, or?
But somebody that supported Celtic,
Oh God,
that came in. Paul Hartley or a Barry Robson or that,
Paul Hartley, he was definitely Celtic through and through, and although he was a bit of a slow burner, I think Hartley didn't get the best of him until the pairing up with Barry Robson and Strachan's 3rd season. That's when we really started to see the best of Paul Hartley, because when he played for Hearts, he played a more attacking midfield role. But at Celtic, he seemed to drop deep. But him and Barry Robson together, God. In fact, there's one GMs came in and said Charlie Mulgrew. When he came back for the Sexton, Mulgrew was very, very good. That second season he was player of the year. He was unreal from left centre back as well. He was fantastic for us. So yeah, Charlie Mulgrew's a good shout, actually.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to think who else we had. Maybe a goalie in there.
Well, I've got San Fran Celtic's going to be an interesting shout. He's calling for a wild Yang to suddenly appear. Time to see if he has it or not. Wise man, does Yang have it or not?
Mate, living in San Francisco, a wild Yang might likely appear.
Perhaps, yeah, maybe. We'll talk about Yang. On Tuesday night on the ticket with David and Regan, we actually brought up the whole Yang and Palmer debate, because Palmer's now linked to a move to the MLS in January, which I think for his own good is probably a wise move. But David put a good question to me and Regan. He says, if you're in currently Brendan Rodgers' situation, right, you look to the bench, you've got Yang and Palmer, who are you going to put on right now? And I'd said that Palmer's got all the numbers to back him up, no doubt about it, but he definitely fails the eye test, because it feels like every time he's on the park right now, he cannot do right from wrong. Yang doesn't have the numbers, and even in the eye test, he's still kind of, there's little moments here and there, but you feel like the way Brendan's sort of using him recently, that Brendan feels that there's something there, and I feel like he's trying to force something out of him. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll be one of these players, and maybe in a year's time we're going, oh wow, where did that come from? I didn't know he had that in him. Or maybe he'll just be gone in a year's time. He's in that position right now, Liam, where it could go either way. It's a very fine line between his career going nowhere, or he could become an absolute revelation. But yeah, San Fran Celtic's calling out for Yang to come in to the team.
Well, I've liked what I've seen him at times, but there's other times where he just completely disappears. The game sucks him up. He doesn't seem to be, the ball's not coming to him, or it's bouncing off him, or, like I've never seen him get the ball cleanly and have a good run since the first couple of games he played with us. There was that game that before he got sent off for that high boot, he was playing well that game. But what he was doing was he was getting the ball cleanly, and he was getting it up around the halfway line and then running at the defenders with the ball. And I think when we see him getting the ball now, he's usually way too deep. But he does have that burst of speed. There's a number of times where I've seen him take people to the byline, and then run the ball across the line for a couple of yards, and get it back in play or get a corner at it. Yeah, I'd like to see Yang, only just because I'm bored of James Forrest coming on. It's like 2024, and I'm just, come on, Celtic.
We're still waiting for James Forrest to warm up this season. It'll probably be about March before he springs into life. Right now, he's just kind of going through the motions when he comes on. Like, he isn't really impacting games, but like he did last year, suddenly out of nowhere, he'll just do it. But hopefully we don't find ourselves in a position around March time like we did the previous season. As I said earlier on, I would rather we were just home and dry and we just cruise to the title. That'll do me nicely. But yeah, in terms of, say, other positions, I think it's all with Zagreb in mind. It's a Tuesday game this week we play, which might be interesting given the cup final is on the Sunday and Rangers are going to have to play the Thursday night. But I wouldn't read too much into that. I do recall a game a couple of years ago where they played on a Thursday night and we played them at Hampden on the Sunday, and they beat us and they went all the way extra time with Braga. So again, I wouldn't, especially a cup final, a highly charged one like that, emotions will take over, adrenaline will kick in. So I wouldn't read too much into they're playing on Thursday, we're playing on Tuesday. Well, that gives us a massive benefit. We'll obviously deal with the cup final when we get to it. But do you think the team selection tomorrow is a case of can field a few of the second string then to protect the sort of first teamers for Tuesday night, or will it be the opposite? Will it be get the first teamers on, get the game won, and then get them off and wrap them up in cotton wool for Tuesday night, Liam?
Aye, win it and bin it. That's it. Just to get them on, get the ones off that need to be protected, get the people playing that need to fitness or confidence or whatever it is. I mean, I'm not saying if we take it like a training exercise, you never know. We could get bit in the arse. Anytime we lose any sort of like invincible type thing, it's always a team you don't expect. It comes out and nails us like the Invincible season. It was Hearts, and they took us apart 4-0, and Hearts weren't particularly brilliant that time. So get it won first, and get that out there. I'll tell you what. Just going back to James Forrest for a minute, Phil. It's going to be murder. See if he doesn't score that goal. The longer and longer he goes without scoring that goal every time he comes on, Jerry McCulloch mentions it. He'll be the third player to score in all 13 seasons.
Oh, right, okay.
Right? And he doesn't score. And I think if it gets really bad towards the end of the season, it'll be like that game when Ian Wright was trying everything they could to score a goal. Everybody's trying to set him up.
The 179 just done it. The Nike advert that was under his shirt, but he did it. The goal when he was too early was 178 he'd scored. It was actually the next one when he got it. It was 179. Aye. I remember that.
It'll be like that. So I think we've got to get him a goal early just to get that shit off our back, Otherwise that'll turn into its own circus.
Graham Tyrrell saying we James a stick on it scoring against Hibs. Now, I remember he came in for the
He will.
cold out of nowhere under Ange and we beat them 6-1 and he scored a hat trick that day. I think that was the game that took him to 100 goals. I think that was the one that got it. He was on 97. He obviously got a couple of goals and you're like, he's going to get a hat trick today. It's written in the stars and yeah, he did. So he does enjoy a goal against Hibs, funny enough, actually. So maybe we'll get a penalty at some point in the season, and if he's on the park, maybe the captain will make that call and say, you take it, and they can get that goal.
What if he misses?
Oh, to be fair, yeah, we do miss a lot of penalties.
Oh,
but if we're winning comfortably and we get a penalty, then by all means, yeah, you take it.
That'd be too much pressure. And if he misses it, that's it, you're it.
Yep. That's it. You've had your turn onto somebody else for the penalty taking. That's how we do it with the penalties. We just rotate it till somebody misses.
You're never seen again.
But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, he does get that goal because yeah, just for the sake of not hearing Jerry McCulloch remind us of it every time he comes on the park, that'd be smashing Celtic. So, predictions, Liam. How do you think it's going to go?
Oh, I think it's going to be a big number tomorrow. So I'm going to go with my. I was bang on last week, and then I think I'm going to be bang on this week as well. I'm going to say another 5-0.
5-0.
I mean, we're not up to Rangers 6 levels, bringing it. They'll be bringing out a DVD for that one. Yeah, we're doing okay. So I think 5 goals tomorrow, and it'll be spread around. It'll be spread around.
A lot of big predictions coming in. They go 3-1, 5-0. Yeah, I'll say 3-0 as well. I think we'll win. I think it'll be one of these ones we'll get it done pretty quickly and just wrap everybody up in cotton wool because the Zagreb game coming up is a big one for us, so we'll need to be ready for that. Now, before we head off, got another couple of wee things done. So first of all, at the top of the show, I decided to introduce a new thing. Obviously, guess the player. I made it very, very easy, and I did clock in the comments earlier on. A lot of you got it first time, but yeah, I'll make this a regular thing because when I did Bustalgia, I would always start the show with a wee bit of trivia on a Friday night and come back to the answers at the end. But seeing as these types of quizzes are now in vogue where you have to guess the player going by their career path, I thought I'd put a wee graphic together. So a reminder for anybody that came in late, this is the hidden player. Can you guess who it is? So his career trajectory was Newcastle United, then it was Darlington, then he had a spell at Hibs, then Coventry, then Derby County, then another spell at Hibs, our opponents tomorrow. Then he was at Celtic, and then he was at Wigan, and obviously he's hidden behind that Boise Bus logo. So Liam, wise man, enlighten us. Who is the hidden player behind the picture?
Frankenheed, Gary Caldwell.
Oh, you're correct. There you go. Imagine that. It's Gary Caldwell. He is the correct answer. Yes, indeed. I picked him as well because he was also a player that linked Celtic and Hibs because, yes, he's obviously played for both. We're obviously playing tomorrow. But, yeah, interesting player, Gary Caldwell. One of the things that always stands out with me is he definitely fancied himself as some sort of Beckenbauer type player, one of these like Van Dijk is nowadays, a defender that could play out for the back. Long before it was in vogue, he always loved to try and ping a long ball, but I always remember him scoring 3 own goals in Europe. He did it against Benfica, he did it against Arsenal, and he did it against Aalborg. And I can remember after the Aalborg one, which was his second one. No, it was after the Benfica one, which was his first one. I remember him saying, we'll learn from this. And then he scored another 2 own goals in the years that followed. And I'm like, you didn't learn the goddamn thing. You just didn't learn at all, Gary. But yeah, he was a Gordon Strachan favourite. Him and Stephen McManus, that centre-back pairing. You talk about the great centre-back pairings over the years, Maldini and Baresi, stuff like that. Caldwell and McManus. What a partnership.
I always remember when you look back and you watch some of the highlight reels of Larson, the amount of time that's either Gary Caldwell or his brother on his hands and knees on the park. Might have just been ridden like a donkey. His brother, Stephen Caldwell, he's managed to get the gig as the voice of football in Canada. And you want to hear him, he's like death warmed up. He's just like, like gammon, like just the weirdest looking man. And he's young. He's young, but he looks like he's about 70 odds. Could have played for the Lisbon Lions or something if he wasn't so shite. But anyway, he managed to. Yeah, he's taken over the airwaves in Canada, and nothing ever. I should be doing that job, Phil. I'm wasted.
Yeah,
here.
You should actually. Yeah, I'd listen to you.
3 years. I got 3 years experience now.
Exactly, because that's what I was going to end on tonight. Obviously, as I said at the top of the show, it's 3 years since the Boise bus launched. It was the 6th of December 2021. So, Wiseman, you and I have been around in this journey for as long as it's pretty much been around. I got joined the channel in February 2022. I made my debut just after we'd get beaten by Bodo Glint. We lost to them. We became the first person to come on the show that had to talk about a defeat, because up to that point the Boise bus had been a lucky charm for Angie's Celtic, because I think the first PMP, even though it didn't have its name at that point, was the Tony Ralston last minute goal against Ross County, and I think we just kept winning and winning after that. And then it was like, okay, I had my shot in the Friday night show, the Double Down quiz, and obviously we had a game the night before, and I was the first person to come on as a guest and talk about a defeat. So that was fun. But hey, here I am, still here, still hung in here 3 years later. So Liam, what's been your any favourite moments, memories over the last few years? Any standout moments on the show?
On the bus?
On the bus, mate. Loads.
Mate, some of Terry's PMPs has always been good fun. You know, I was on with Conor Carr the weekend, I had a laugh with him. But honestly, it's just been brilliant. I was bored out my skull. I was in a village in Bulgaria when the bus started. And I'd seen Russell on the other program, the Ask Him, or whatever we call it. And, you know, and always it reminded me of somebody I knew. And so when I was in Bulgaria, he was saying, hey, I'm starting this thing. Do anybody want to help? And I said, yeah, I'll do some artwork for you. And so I did a bunch of artwork for him for the first couple of the bus and started talking to him online. And then I was saying, hey, I'm coming back to Vancouver for a while, but maybe I'll do the podcast when I get there. And so I waited there. And then my first night was, I was supposed to do the Thursday night one, but we had technical difficulties. Russell's fault, no mine this time. And then we ended up doing it the Friday, and it was the night before a Celtic Rangers game. And it was a game that we got beat 3-0. And that was like, oh fuck, I'll not get invited back. You know,
so that's the two of us that get that in common, that we've had that we've been on after defeats. We're fucking in there, but no, it's some of the comments that are coming in from the guys.
I love the patter on the bus. Like, I miss not being able to look. Like when I'm not on the bus, I'm watching the bus. You know, and when I can, if I'm not working that, and I've just got it on the back, I like to get involved in the conversation. And that's what I like it. Some of the patter that we have on here, some of you guys have really, really made me laugh. And I just want to thank everybody that gets involved in the chat and all that. Like, even if you don't take part, it's a buzz watching some of the comments going, because some of the patter's been absolutely hilarious. And that's my bus journey, man.
I'm much the same as you. As a lot, again, with the viewers. Can't thank them enough for all the time they take to watch us. As Russell says, toe rags. He says there's some team of toe rags we built. Toe rags indeed. Russell hammers this home all the time. We've all got full-time jobs. We all, we just do this in our spare time. We don't have fan media access. We're not one of those pods that goes to Celtic Park and is like, oh, Celtic, please acknowledge us. None of that at all. None of that carry on here, as you can probably guess by some of the strong opinions on here. We definitely don't, appease the club in that sense. If something's wrong, we'll say it. But not that there is much wrong at the moment. Let's be honest, it's quite good to be a Celtic fan. But as Russ always says, always keep your eyes on the board. But yeah, some of the stuff, like I say, the PMPs with Terry and Russell, even up till recently, there's been some crackers, like one just a couple of weeks ago where Terry was he was a little lubricate, shall we say. He was a little intoxicated, and he was making a point about Atalanta not being a good team. And it was just a hilarious argument. And I was like, Terry, mate, do you want a bigger shovel so you can keep digging that hole? And he's like, they're not a good team. And he's, just because they won the Europa League. And it's like, but they did finish 4th in Italy, which would still got them a Champions League spot anyway. So they're just one of these hipster teams, Atalanta, who a few years ago weren't doing much. But nowadays they are a big deal. And that was a great point for us. So, but yeah, some of the stuff, I'd say some of the PMPs where they go for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and it just turns into, after about an hour of talking to the game, it just turns into a free-for-all. Obviously, Bustalgia.
3 hours, Phil. 3 hours, I think, was the longest one we did, right? We did break the 3 hour mark once.
We did do some very long Bustalgia ones, but I've done the Celtic seasons. And I think I've covered pretty much every season that I'd want to up until now, because I have done one season from before, like, my time as a Celtic fan, because Johnny Logue had asked about the centenary season, and I was like, well, you'll need to come on it because you lived the centenary season, Johnny, and it was a great show. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I learned a lot that night from just asking Johnny questions because he was at Celtic Park every week that season. And from all the video footage that I've watched over the years, it was a magical time at Celtic. So it was good to do that one, to step outside my comfort zone a wee bit. And maybe I'll look into doing. I know that the 86 season has been requested before, the Love Street, winning the league at Love Street on the last day. That one's been requested before, where Hearts capitulated and we took advantage. So maybe that'll come out one day. And I do have ideas for Bustalgia. It's just the time. Time is the hottest commodity. And it's just try to find time, because if you have watched the show, you'll notice when I do Bustalgia, I do put a lot of time into putting that show together. I don't just turn up like half an hour before we go live and I'm just like ready to go. I spend about a week in the run up to the show getting all my notes together. And yeah, it's just getting all the time to do that right now. But hey, it's not over yet. There's still plenty of fuel in the Bustalgia tank, so there will be episodes here and there. And yeah, everything's still motoring along nicely with the bus. So we're trying to add just little things in here and there. Say tonight, we extra things with the quiz. If when Pam's back on next, or if Mick's next on, we also get Sutton Death up and going again, because it's a bit hard to do Sutton Death right now. It just weird. Yeah. So, and it's on Tuesday nights, the Tuesday ticket and whatnot. Obviously, we put in the new thing, the last Tim standing, which again, so many football podcasts and football content out there's doing these things where, it's essentially run the gauntlet, one player, and then you decide between one another. So yeah, we're adding all these wee things in here and there. But yeah, as long as you guys, you've stuck with us this far, and we can't thank you all enough. It's been a phenomenal 3 years up to now, and long may it continue. So yeah, after that sentimental stuff, I guess we better go, Liam. It's five minutes past the hour. So yeah, we'll make tracks. Whatever. Hi, we're off to see Taylor Swift now. Aye, obviously. Whenever you watch the game tomorrow, enjoy it. If you're going to Celtic Park, you better wrap up, because I think there's a amber weather warning over Scotland over the next 24 hours. So it's going to be a bit of a frosty one. It's going to be a bit cold, a bit windy. Might make Wednesday look a bit shit, whether you watch it on telly through secret means, or if you actually in the stadium and watch it. And hopefully again another Celtic victory. Look out for Russell and Terry being back for, I'm sure, another action-packed PMP tomorrow evening. And yeah, guys, we will head off now. As it says on the title of the show, big week ahead. 3 massive games to come for Celtic. So let's just keep that winning run going, Brendan and the boys. And yeah, we shall see you on the next one, guys. Catch you later.